In the middle of the Caribbean Sea, a family is vacationing on their yacht. Mother Julia jumps into the water to swim. While relaxing, she feels something strange, but since nothing is visible around, she thinks it might be her imagination. A few seconds later, the same strange feeling occurs again. Again, nothing is seen, but now she gets scared and starts swimming towards the yacht. Suddenly, someone starts pulling her leg, and she begins to scream loudly for help. Her daughter Casey is listening to music with headphones, so she doesn't hear anything. Her husband Tom and son Ben are busy fishing. Julia tries to stay afloat, but shouting becomes difficult because water gets into her mouth. A little later, Tom realizes he hasn't seen Julia for quite some time. He looks for her on the yacht and then sees his wife in danger. He calls the children, steers the yacht in that direction, and jumps into the water. He quickly reaches Julia, supports her, and swims towards the yacht. The children pull both of them up. The family takes care of Julia, but she convinces herself that it might have been due to the waves. At night, they all celebrate Ben's birthday together. Casey receives a call from her boyfriend, so she takes her laptop and goes outside. In the video call, her boyfriend shows that large dark clouds have covered the city. The call glitches and freezes. Casey comes to tell the family, but Tom says that the signal might be weak because they are far from land. Suddenly, they all hear a sound. They all go outside and see a group of whales passing by. Tom explains that whales always follow the Earth's magnetic field. But when a storm comes, they get confused. Suddenly, the yacht shakes violently and Ben falls. Tom is worried that the yacht might be damaged, so he dives to check below. After a while, he comes back to the surface, but there is a large wound on his shoulder. Julia immediately stitches his wound. Tom tells that underwater, he felt as if there was a very large creature behind him. But when he turned to look, he got cut by the propeller. He says that whatever it was very big. Tom sees significant damage to the yacht, so they have to call for help. Julia keeps trying on the radio repeatedly. Casey searches for a signal on the phone, but nothing works. Suddenly, Casey sees a strange creature and screams. But it's just Ben, who is jokingly wearing a mask. After a while, the yacht completely shuts down and gets stuck in the middle of the ocean. Julia hears a voice on the radio, but the sound is so bad that she can't understand anything. Tom tells the family that they only have 4 days worth of food and water left, and now they'll have to wait for a fishing boat. Suddenly, something is detected on the radar, and the family hears a strange sound. They all run outside and are amazed to see numerous meteors falling to the ground. Wherever the meteors fall, there are big explosions. A meteor falls near them in the water, so Tom immediately tries to start the yacht. The engine barely starts, but then another meteor hits the area. The family clings tightly to each other out of fear. Then Tom realizes that the fireballs falling are not meteors but satellites. At the same time, Ben sees smoke coming from the yacht. Tom checks and confirms that the engine is damaged. The wind starts getting stronger, so the family hides inside the yacht, not noticing that the compass is spinning rapidly. The yacht starts shaking violently. Ben falls again, and this time he gets hurt. Waves are crashing against the yacht rapidly. Tom struggles to go outside and brings back a life jacket. Then the power goes out. Tom immediately presses the power box button, and the lights come back on. At that moment, Ben notices that blood is coming from Julia's nose. Julia starts feeling dizzy, while Casey goes to the sink and vomits. Tom keeps trying the radio but doesn't get a signal. Suddenly, a loud, high-pitched noise occurs, and the wind becomes even stronger. Julia tries to close the doors, but a hatch opens and the wind starts breaking the windows. Tom lights a flare, and a little while later, darkness descends. The next morning, the family wakes up in shock that they survived the storm, but the yacht is half destroyed. When they go outside, they see that the ocean water has disappeared and the yacht is now stuck on land. Everyone is shocked to see that, checking the signal, the network is completely down. Ben starts playing with 2 dead crabs. Tom checks the compass and sees that it has flipped upside down. This last happened 700,000 years ago. Casey thinks her boyfriend might be dead and she breaks down. When Julia comes to comfort her, Casey pushes her away and goes to hide. Julia and Tom check the remaining supplies. Ben ties his birthday balloons to a rock, hoping that any survivors might spot them. Tom tries the radio again, and this time he makes a connection with a man. His name is Nav, and he is a submarine captain. His submarine is also stuck on land. He confirms that the magnetic poles have reversed, causing the ocean to recede and the land to sink. He says he hasn't seen any other survivors yet, and the communication systems are completely down. He further says that the poles will reverse again, and perhaps the ocean will return in a week. He warns the family to climb to the highest place possible, because when the water returns, it will be very dangerous. He says his partner died in the crash, and there is only room for 3 people in the submarine. Julia and Tom ask him to please save their children. He gives them his own notice. Tom calculates that it will take 2 to 3 days to reach the submarine. He tells the family to rest well tonight. We will leave tomorrow morning. The next morning, the family is packing their belongings. Then Tom sees something moving nearby. It's a limping man with a harpoon in his hand, accompanied by a constantly barking dog. Tom goes to him and gives him a bottle of water. But the man speaks in a language that Tom doesn't understand. After drinking the water, the stranger suddenly attacks Tom's head, injuring his shoulder. Julia, enduring the pain, runs inside the yacht and tells the children to hide. She locks the door. Casey and Ben crawl inside the sofa. Julia gives them the flare gun and then takes a knife herself and hides in the bathroom. The man bangs loudly on the door and finally gets inside. First, he picks up some food and then starts searching around the yacht. Then he heads towards the bathroom. But Julia cleverly escapes through a small hole. The man thinks that Julia has run away. But just as she tries to sneak out, his dog sees her and starts barking. The dog lunges at her, and Julia kills it with a knife. Hearing the dog's cry, the man comes out and gets furious upon seeing his dog's corpse. Meanwhile, Julia tries to get inside from the other side of the yacht. She climbs up and starts getting inside through the broken window. But the man reaches there first. He grabs her and punches her hard, causing her to fall down. Julia tries to hold on to the furniture to save herself, but the man kicks her away. Then he steps on her wrist to make her drop the knife, grabs her hair, slams her face to the ground, throws her on the sofa, and starts choking her. The children are watching all this. Casey comes out and fires the flare gun, hitting the man directly. He catches fire, and the yacht starts to burn. The children immediately run away, but Julia comes back. She kicks him down. She picks up the map and bag and runs away from there. Ben and Casey go to their father and start crying. Julia also sits with them, and the 3 bid Tom a final farewell in tears. Then the scary man comes out of the yacht again, and the family starts running away once more. Soon after, the yacht explodes with a big bang. After walking a little further, they stop by a small waterfall to take some rest. Casey thinks that maybe the crazy man came to them after seeing balloons. Hearing this, Ben starts to blame himself. Julia explains to him that it wasn't his fault and tells everyone to move forward because the man is still behind them. Along the way, near a small pond, Ben is surprised to see a dead hammerhead shark. Then Julia notices that the man is about to reach them again. Everyone starts running and falls down a sand dune where they see toxic waste. The family carefully crosses it, and it seems they have gotten rid of the man. As they walk, they begin to see large dead animals and all the plastic accumulated under the ocean. Ben starts walking slowly, so Julia realizes that he is close to dehydration. She tells everyone to stop. When she looks at the water bottle, she gets a shock. The water in the bottle is almost finished. Casey realizes that maybe she hadn't closed the bottle properly. Julia angrily shouts that the water is finished because of her carelessness. Casey replies, "What difference does it make? Anyway, we're not going to survive." There is a long argument between the two. Still, the family keeps moving forward. After a while, they find a crashed plane. Seeing something moving inside, everyone gets scared, but it's just some birds. The family decides to spend the night inside the plane. They share a little snack, and Julia finds a family photo in Tom's jacket, which breaks her heart. Casey asks Mom, "What was your and Dad's love story?" Julia smiles and tells, "Tom was my patient in the hospital. Then one day he expressed his love with flowers and a sweet poem." Late at night, Casey steps out of the plane. That's when the scary man tries to grab her from behind. But Julia suddenly attacks him from behind and repeatedly stabs him to death. Casey hugs her mother to calm her down. The next morning, insects are crawling on the man's corpse. The family notices that there are many bite marks on his body. It means there is a dangerous creature hidden in this area. As they leave from there, crabs come out of his mouth. A few hours later, Julia and Casey are looking at the map. But Ben quietly moves ahead. Julia shouts, "Stop!" But Ben bends down and starts drinking water from a pond. Julia quickly pulls him out and explains that unknown water can make him sick. When the sun becomes too strong, the family covers their heads with clothes. Ben starts feeling dizzy. Then they find some old chairs and Julia Casey builds a temporary shelter with them. Julia gives Ben an injection and decides they will spend the night there. In the morning, Julia wakes up to a strange noise. When she goes outside, she sees a large swarm of crabs coming toward them. She immediately wakes the children, and the three start running. While running, they see a large cargo ship. There are 3 crew members alive there. A woman wants to help them, but the other 2 men refuse and lock the container, leaving the family outside. The crabs come closer. Julia lifts the children onto the container. As she starts climbing herself, the crabs bite her leg hard. The children pull her up, otherwise she would have fallen. Half of the crabs get inside through a hole in the container. The crew members start firing, but the crabs overpower them and kill both. The last man reaches the hole in the roof, but the crabs pull him down and he dies too. Julia bandages her wound and faints. After a while, when she wakes up, she finds herself alone in the middle of a sandstorm. Panicked, she starts searching for the children. She picks up a weapon from a dead woman and screams loudly. Casey hears her voice and returns, explaining that she and Ben went looking for help, but found no one. Then they meet Ben, who finds an open container where they can stay until the storm ends. Julia takes out Tom's lighter and cauterizes her wound, which is extremely painful. After the storm subsides, they find another container with many bottles of water. While checking a body, they also find a radio and a gun. Julia spots a boat. Someone shoots a flare, and the family starts walking in that direction. After a long walk, the family finds a broken toilet where Ben urinates. Now they finally see a submarine nearby, but to reach it, they must cross a rocky path. As they pass through the path, the walls start shaking and rocks begin to fall, causing a terrible rock slide. Julia immediately pushes her children to the side and retreats herself to avoid being crushed. Now a stone wall has come between them. Julia tells the children to move forward without her, but Casey refuses and insists that her mom should try to climb. After much arguing and shouting, Julia promises she will find her children later. Reluctantly, Casey pulls her brother forward. The children climb the rocky path and run toward the submarine, but when they arrive, they see a boat covered in blood outside. He explains that it's all over for him, and now the children can take the submarine. Thinking there will be extra space, Casey runs back to find her mother. Just then, Julia sees the crabs coming and starts firing. She kills some crabs, but the swarm is too large, making it difficult to fight them all. At the same time, Casey appears over the wall and extends her hand. So Julia starts climbing quickly despite her injured leg. With Casey's help, she reaches the other side and they both run toward the submarine together. Ben is already standing above and opens fire so the crabs remain disturbed while the family climbs up. As soon as the crabs reach the body of the boat, they start eating it immediately. Julia picks up the gun and keeps firing until the children go inside. When they are safe, Julia realizes the bullets are out, so she throws the gun at the crabs and goes inside with her children. The family locks the hatch securely and watches the crabs around the submarine from the window. At the same time, the sea returns, so all 3 immediately sit in their seats, buckle up, and hold each other's hands. The strong waves start tossing the submarine back and forth, causing Julia to have visions of the entire journey and Casey to vomit. Soon, that high-pitched sound returns and the family faints. After a while, Julia and the children regain consciousness and are happy to see themselves alive. They unlock the hatch and step outside, seeing that the waves have dropped the submarine into a destroyed city. This means there is hope to survive and start a new life. And this is where the movie ends. चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें और बेल आइकन जरूर दबाएं ताकि आपको ऐसे ही मजेदार वीडियो मिलते रहें। देखने के लिए धन्यवाद।